Today is the day. I have the hybrid and turbocharged Maverick, and we're going to do an MPG and acceleration test with both of these trucks. I cannot wait to do this because I've always wondered which one can truly give you the best bang for the buck. I borrowed these trucks, Larry H. Miller, Super Ford here in Salt Lake City. They're both available. Be sure to ask for Tim Powell. They have a ton of inventory here, and I know they're ready to move a lot of the 2024 models as well. Let's go ahead and get down the road. All right, we're getting on the highway right now. Hear that? Probably about 30% down. You can really hear that turbo swooshing. You don't hear the blow off valve though, you just hear sounds good. Now, I have to admit to you guys, these are my first reviews on Maverick. I never drove one up until 2025 because back when they came out, they were hard to do reviews on and they were all spoken for, so you couldn't really drive them. And I have really fallen in love with this truck. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know why, but I think I would definitely buy one of these if I decide to get another card for like going around and not wanting to drive a big truck, basically. Like I have a old car that I drive, you know, to and from my dealerships, but this would be nice to have. But man, like it actually does feel heavy. I am shocked at how well this truck performs. Like seriously, it feels like a sports pickup. It sits low, you know, and it has great visibility, has nice amenities on the interior, has auto down window. Woo! You don't have to hold it. Sorry about that. That's my bad. But apart from that, it feels nimble, and I'm actually, oh wow, we're already getting pretty good fuel economy. So I reset it at the dealership, and I'll do the same for both. But overall, it feels pretty confident for power. Like there's no lack in power at all. And as you guys will hear later on, you do have to burn premium with these too, so just keep that in mind. But if you need to pass someone, I'm going about 68 miles an hour to get around them. Even at 70 miles an hour, I'm going 80. Like it has a lot of pep in it stuff. I like the way the seats feel too. You have a little bit of bolstering. I mean, these seats are a little bit more built for probably slightly bigger people than me, because I don't really feel the bolstering on the sides, which is a good thing because if you're a little bit bigger, you should still feel comfortable in the seats. I have the seat all the way back. This is all the way down. And really, I mean, I can't really come up any. Like, I think this is as far back as it goes, and yeah, it is as far back as it goes, but I can't go up any further because I feel like it would be too close. And then tilt and telescoping steering wheel. Yeah, this has a lot of nice features. Let's go ahead and drive the hybrid. Now we're driving the hybrid, and shockingly, well, it depends on how you look at it. This is not that heavy of a truck. It does feel pretty peppy. It's not like that 2-liter turbo. That turbo is just right. I feel like you're going to be pushing the pedal down a little bit more in this one. But what do you guys think about this interior? I do like the tan on blue. This looks actually really nice. And if I have a chance, maybe I'll do a separate video on this one because this doesn't have the black appearance package, and I've done a video on a Lariat with it, so this might be a nice truck to show too. But yes, you can definitely tell that, man, that fan is a little loud, but yeah, you can definitely tell this one's a little bit slower when you give it that, you know, the juice basically. And you definitely have to give it more, but you do have some electric assistance with this one, and that should help a little bit with how this one performs. But yeah, when it comes down to just overall feel on the road, they both have the same 19-inch wheel and tire setup, and they handle about the same. Now this does have a sport mode too. Let's see if sport mode tightens up the steering on this one too. Yep, it does. that is really a game changer for some people. I personally don't like smaller cars because they just lose a lot of nice features. And this one definitely does have a lot, but it doesn't have an auto dimmer. I'll have to do some research in the future to see if you can even get that. And the mirrors, I didn't mention this on the other one, but yeah, the mirrors, they're small, but they're adequate. You still have blind spot monitoring, which is helpful. And let's just see, if you need to pass someone, I'm going 65, let's see, wide open throttle. It's not as fast as that, it's not as fast as that turbo, which obviously you knew that, right? You knew this was going to be faster. This one should have all-wheel drive too. I did not look. I should have looked about that. That's why I did this test too. But if I did mess up and not get two all-wheel drive ones, I'll have to redo this test in the future because I wanted to do apples to apples with that. I should have looked. But nevertheless, you can hear some of the road noise. There's a little bit of wind today, and these both had the sunroof. Obviously, that's why I picked them so I could put my camera up there. But yeah, this one definitely does. It's lacking the power. It's clear. Like, you definitely are down on power for sure, and that's okay because this still feels peppy for what it is, and you have the opportunity to get that 30 plus, even close to 40 plus MPG, right? So that's the biggest selling point about the hybrid system in the city, that is. You do have the RPMs right there, and you guys can see we're like, well, we're just under 2,000 RPMs. Now that does seem kind of high, I will admit. That does seem kind of high. But when you go to accelerate, man, you can really hear that turbo. So at 75, we're just at 2,000 RPMs. So yeah, the RPMs definitely do run a little bit higher with something like this. And I'm actually a little bit shocked by that. But you know, 8-speed transmission, just as an FYI if you were wondering. So it doesn't have that 10-speed, although even if it did, the final gears are typically very close to the 8 and 10 speed, so it'll probably be about the same really. But yes, this does have like adaptive cruise control, lane centering, all that good stuff. Let's see if I turn that on. I just want to see how it feels. Oh, let's turn that on. Here it is. Yeah, so there it is. So yeah, this is the lane centering. Do you have to keep your hand on the steering wheel? I'm sure you do. This doesn't have hands-free drive. Let's see if it tells us. Yep, so you do have to have your hands on. I knew you did because this doesn't have the, what is it called? The Blue Cruise doesn't have that. But yeah, it definitely has a lot of nice amenities. That's why, you know, when people complain about the pricing, I know these are expensive, but these do come pretty done up. Like, this thing has a power sliding rear glass. You can't even get that on a $60,000 Canyon. So yes, these are expensive, but when you think about all the amenities that these things have, it's pretty remarkable for sure. You don't have RPMs for this one because it has a CVT, but you do have this little monitor over here. I was looking for this on the last video I did, and I found it on this truck, which is nice. But one thing I like about this, and this is what I like about hybrids, driving a hybrid is like playing a video game because, you know, as you give it a little bit of acceleration, you're using the engine, right? But then when you pull off, now you're using the regenerative braking, so none of your energy is wasted, right? That energy, like, so when you're using the gas pedal, you're charging that battery typically, which it looks like that's what we're doing right now. But when you're going down a hill, you can basically just be charging that battery, and then when you're in the city, as you pull off from a, you know, a light, you can just be on electric mode. So there's just a lot of fun features with these compared to a lot of other things. And you guys probably saw the fuel economy. We're definitely a lot higher. This is the same spot as the last truck we drove with the 2-liter turbo, and we're what, 5 MPG higher? So even on the highway you can get better fuel economy, but where this shines is in the city. But yeah, I definitely like driving this. This is a lot more fun to drive for that, you know, getting the best fuel economy possible. That's why you buy a hybrid, is because you literally have that option to always be on electric mode when you're not driving, And if you're going to pick up your kids from school, or if you're at a drive-through and getting food, you can be on electric mode, and that's where you really benefit the most from these. Here are the numbers on the door for the 2-liter. Front gross axle weight rating is going to be 2,685 pounds. The rear is 2,825 pounds. Gross vehicle weight rating is going to be 5,240 pounds. And then all-in payload, 1,335 pounds. The numbers are slightly higher for the hybrid, so front gross axle weight rating is higher at 2,710 pounds. That's because of the hybrid system. But the rear is a little bit lower at 2,800 pounds. But gross vehicle weight rating is going to be 5,320 for the extra components. And all-in payload is actually a little bit lower, 1,301 pounds. We just made it to the midpoint with the 2-liter turbo. And you guys see there? We are pretty much closing in on 30 MPG. Now obviously this probably won't seem fair for some people because the hybrid is not intended to get its best fuel economy on the highway. It's really for the city. So that's where you have to understand, you know, the purchase, you know, process for all this. If you're doing a lot of city driving, the hybrid is the way to go. If you do a lot of highway driving, you might want to just get this one. 28.3, that's where we stopped at. Hopefully it's pretty apples to apples, but sometimes I have the unfortunate thing that happens where I go through the light and yeah, then I basically don't lose 0.3 MPG from stopping like that. So hopefully we stop with the hybrid. And the stop starter on this truck is pretty dang good. So that should help a little bit in the city, but yeah, you're going to get your best fuel economy with that hybrid in the city. But on the highway, you might want to just consider this one because of the extra pep and all that good stuff too. We're at the midpoint with the hybrid, and I have the brake pedal just slightly down. We're just charging that battery. We're literally on electric mode, not using any gas. We've only gone about a half a mile just on electric mode, and we're at 33.4. So, I mean, hey, there you have it. Even on the highway, you're gonna get better fuel economy. Now, obviously, if you're not someone who's used to driving turbocharged vehicles, that's gonna really hurt you on fuel economy too. So just keep that in mind. I wish they would give you a turbo gauge for that. That way you can kind of learn how to keep that engine out of the boost, because if you do that, you probably could get it closer to that 30 MPG in the same spot. Close, probably 29. But yeah, this is just the way to go. We basically stopped here and it's about the same spot, although the light's still red. But yes, this is just on electric mode. So while the air conditioning's on, the air conditioning's gonna work better in the summertime with the stop start because of the bigger battery, right? And right now I'm just pulling off. Oh wow, that light didn't stay green long. But yeah, I'm just on electric mode, so it doesn't really matter with this one. And that's gonna really help with fuel economy. And that's where these are the game changers, having that electric mode while you're just cruising or sitting at a light, or as I said earlier, going to pick up your kids from school, sitting in that line for 30 minutes, going through drive-through. That's where this truly does benefit the most. Hopefully you guys can see that. Super quiet in here. 65.7, 65.8. I would venture to say that it'll be about the same, but I just wanted to show that just in case. We're going 75 miles an hour. Like I said, this is phenomenal. They did a great job with Maverick, and I'm glad I had a chance to actually do this test, because if you have a big truck, this is what you should probably consider getting if you want a second vehicle. I wish it was just a little bit heavier, like maybe 6,000 pounds, so you can write it off in your business. But you might want to consider a lease too if you're a business owner as well. Just something to consider there. But overall, the steering feel is a little loose, I will say. And you know, I didn't look. I'm just in normal mode. Let's see what happens if I put it in sport mode. Does that really tighten up? Nah, it didn't really. Oh, it did. So sport actually tightens up the steering. Oh wow, there it is. That's how I would drive this in sport mode. But I'm gonna put it back in the normal mode. the steering for sure. Like, that was nice. .5 is what I'm seeing. There's a truck right there, unfortunately. You probably can hear it. That will pick up on that too, believe it or not. But you can definitely tell that it's a little bit windier right now. So 65.5, that's what we'll use. So this is a little bit quieter, for sure. And one thing I want to mention too is if you are looking at the hybrid, if you live in a climate that's mostly cold throughout the year, that might be another negative for this hybrid, because obviously it's going to affect the battery and it's going to affect your range on that battery. When I was actually pulling off from the light back there, I was actually able to stay on electric mode a lot longer, because I was probably giving it maybe 30% throttle, and then the engine kicked on just shortly after that. So you don't have to drive it so slow. Like, I remember the earlier hybrids, you really had to baby it, because if you gave it 30%, engine was coming on. So you want to try to keep it in that electric mode as much as you can, and then once it gets to 25 miles an hour, the engine kicks on at that point, basically. So yeah, this is definitely a good option for those people who live in Florida or in those milder winters. This would be perfect. But for that colder climate, that gas engine without this system might be better for sure. This is the 2-liter inline 4 turbocharged engine, good for 238 horsepower and 275 pound-feet of torque. If you want those horsepower and torque numbers, you got to use premium fuel. However, all that power does go through an 8-speed transmission. Let's see how this thing accelerates. Here we go.
30, 60.
This is the 2.5 liter inline 4 natural aspirator engine. It's going to be good for 191 horsepower and 155 pound-feet of torque. Now, in order to get those numbers, you have to use premium, and this does have a continuously variable transmission. Let's see how this one accelerates. Here we go.
30, 60.
I'm shocked. I can't believe this truck. The off-the-line performance of this was like a supercharger. It jumped off that line. Like, literally, I know this has all-wheel drive. Wow. Mind blown. Mind blown. We're pulling back in. I'll stop in the same spot, so we'll stop next to this Platinum Super Duty. So we drove just under 15 miles, got 26.8 MPG. I want to say we were just under 29 MPG before the 0 to 60. So let's go ahead and see how the hybrid did. With that electric assistance, it did not hurt the fuel economy as bad as it would have on the other one. So we were at like 35 and some change. And now we're only at 34, so stopping in the same spot, same miles, 34.2 MPGs. Insane. I came into this video ready to tell you the truck I would choose is that 2-liter turbo, because it's going to be a little bit faster and you're not going to get a huge difference in fuel economy, and you still have to burn premium. So why not just get the one that has the turbocharger, which will benefit a lot more from that? Oh no, that electric motor threw that truck forward. It beat this one to 30 miles an hour, and it beat it to 60. I don't know what else to say. I think that for what you're getting out of these trucks, the hybrid is the way to go. And obviously the hybrid is going to be more fun to drive if you like to play the game of seeing electric mode versus gas versus regenerative braking. It's more fun to drive for sure. And you guys haven't seen the numbers yet, but here is the numbers for fuel economy. So you can get 40 in the city, 34 on the highway. Now this one costs about $39,755 with the hybrid system. And 501A, I think that does mean this does have all-wheel drive. Here are the fuel economy numbers for the 2-liter. And these trucks are essentially the same price when you look at the base. So yes, the hybrid is the way to go. Like, there's no point in getting the 2-liter unless you just want that more peppier engine in the mid-range. So if you're on the highway, there's no doubt this one's going to be a lot quicker, because if that battery's not charged too, you won't get that kind of acceleration as well. So I would still choose a hybrid. The hybrid's the way to go for me. I am very shocked. I was really coming into this video ready to say I would get the 2-liter, but nope, I get the 2.5. Obviously you still have to use premium for both, and that's not a big deal because you have a smaller fuel tank on this side. So yeah, I think I swayed myself towards the hybrid in this video, and that's the one I would pick. But I hope you guys liked the video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. This was a lot of fun. Let me know your thoughts. See you guys soon.